Well, good morning. Welcome. Whether you're joining me live or later on the replay, welcome. Glad to have you here. So go ahead and start in a comfortable seated position. So you might sit cross legged if you're comfortable that way. You could also sit up on your heels if you like. You can sit in a chair to start if you wish as well. So some of the things we do as we start, you just need to be in a comfortable seat. So whatever that looks like for you is perfect. All right, so take a moment to close your eyes and just begin to check in with your body. Specifically noticing if there are any parts of your body that are talking to you today. So if you are rehabbing an injury, of course, you'll need to skip certain things. If parts of your body are tight from activity or lack of activity, you might start to notice that. And then allow your breath to be just a little bit deeper so that as you're breathing in, you start to allow not only your chest, but also your rib cage and your belly and your back, all to have this sense of expanding outwards in all directions. And then as you exhale, just allow yourself to land into the space that you find yourself in. So whether you're in the space where you always practice or whether it's a different space, let the exhale be an opportunity to land exactly where you are, observing and feeling. And so take just a couple more breaths in this way, with the inhale again expanding in all directions, and with the exhale landing into the space that you're in. All right, take one more round of breath. And then we'll guide our palms together in front of the heart. Then as we inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, reach your hands out and down. Spread the fingers wide apart, releasing the hands all the way toward the floor. Take another breath in as you reach out and up. And then exhale, hands come together and down to the heart. We'll do that a few more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, out and down. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, one more time. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. All right, from here, interlace your fingers. Press your palms forward and up. Start to reach up through one hand and up through the other side, left and right, a few times. Just gently tug on your fingers so that you stretch into each palm, wrist, down each arm, each side of the body. All right, take another round of breath. All right, let your hands release all the way down to the floor. And then walk your right hand out, lean into it, take your left hand to your left shoulder, and start to rotate. Take a few circles in one direction. And then a few circles the opposite way. All right, and then sweep that left arm up alongside your head, reaching over to the right, squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through your wrist a few times each way. All right, and then breathe in, lifting up. Breathing out, release that left hand down, walk it out a little bit. Again, lean into it. Right hand finds the right shoulder, and then start to rotate. And really allow these shoulder rotations to be nice and big. So you feel a bit of a stretch all on all sides of the shoulder as you rotate. All right, change directions. All right, and then right arm reaches up alongside the head. Reaching over to the left, squeeze and release the right fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist a few times each way. All right, take a big breath in, lifting up. And breathing out, release your hand down. All right, now shift onto hands and knees. And so as you come to hands and knees, we'll just start with the hands underneath the shoulders, but we'll take the knees close together. And then lift your left knee up and out to the side and start to rotate through your hip. So now your left knee is drawing that big circle in space. Let your arms be straight here so that the movement is really mostly happening at the hip rather than lots of movement through the torso or the arms. Change directions, same leg, opposite way. All right, with your next inhale, reach that left foot straight back behind you. And then breathing out, pull your left knee in toward your chest and round your back. Again, inhale, left leg back. Exhale, knee into the chest. And one more, breathing in. And breathing out. Now, taking your left leg back this time, cross it over the right leg, drop the toes, spin your fingers out to the sides, and then curve the spine to the right. So you're peeking back at your left foot, sensing all the way up the left side of the body, from the foot to the hip, all the way up to the shoulder. All right, bring your torso back to neutral. Pick that left leg up and then step your left foot forward to your left hand. You might need to step a couple of times depending on proportions. And then once you've got your left knee roughly over the ankle, go ahead and lift your torso up. Pause to find balance. So when you come into the short lunge, you might take a peek and look down. If your front foot is kind of in the same plane as your back leg, it's going to feel like you're on a tightrope. So it's going to be a little hard to balance. So just make sure the left foot is further to the left than the right leg is to the right. All right, so from here, take the right hand to rest on your left knee, and then left hand sweeps forward, up, back, down. So rotating through the shoulder, but adding the movement of the torso as well. So you'll feel that as you take your arm forward, you come out of a twist, and then as you take your arm back, your torso moves into a twist. Breathing deeply. And still experiencing the inhale as an expansive force. And with each exhale, landing into the space that you're in. Landing into awareness of your body, of the sensations created by the movements that you're doing. All right, one more full breath, one more full circle. All right, take the hands to the floor and step forward so that you come into a forward fold. Take your feet a little wider than your hips. Bend your knees to start. Lay the belly on or close to the thighs. Release the weight of your head. Give it a little shake out, yes and no. All right, walk your hands up the fronts of the legs, rising to stand. And then once you come to stand, just shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. Again, shrugging up, back, and down. And one more up, back, and down. And now as you inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold forward. Take the hands to the floor and walk your feet back. We'll come into downward facing dog. And feet about hip distance, hips up into the air. Bend the knees just like we did to start in that forward fold. But this time let one heel drop toward the floor as the opposite knee bends even more deeply. And then switch back and forth. One knee bent, other leg straighter. All right, then release down to your knees. Take them about hip distance or a little wider, but take your big toes together. Sit back towards your feet. Release your head toward the floor. Take 3 cycles of breath. All right, after your third breath, bring yourself back up onto hands and knees. Knees come back together. This time we'll do the right side. So lift your right knee up and out to the side. Start to rotate through your hip. Couple of times in one direction. Again, keeping the arm straight and the torso relatively still. All right, and then change directions if you haven't already. Same leg, but opposite way. Now with your next inhale, reach your right foot back. Exhale, pull the right knee into the chest and round the back. Again, as you inhale, right leg back. Exhale, knee into the chest. One more inhale back. And exhale, knee into the chest. Now, as you take your right leg back this time, cross it over the left leg, drop the toes. Spin your fingers out to the sides and then curve your spine to the left, peeking back at the right foot this time. Sensing all the way up the right side of the body, from the foot to the hip and the hip to the shoulder. All right, bring your torso back to neutral. Pick the right leg up, step the right foot forward to the right hand. Again, lifting up, each leg in its own lane so you don't feel like you're on that tightrope. And take your left hand across to rest on the right knee. And then sweep the right hand forward and up, and back, and down. Again, adding the movement of the torso into this shoulder rotation. So as you take your arm back, really let your torso twist, as though your arm is gently guiding or pulling the torso into and then out of the twist. Breathing deeply. All right, we'll take one more circle. All right, both hands to the floor. Again, step that left foot forward into your forward fold. The second time in the posture, maybe your knees are still bent. Maybe you start to straighten the legs a little bit, but focus more on how it feels in the backs of the legs. So getting them straight is not necessarily where you need to be in terms of sensing and feeling what you're experiencing in your body. Again, gently shake the head, yes and no. All right, and then walk the hands up the fronts of the legs, rising to stand. This time backward circles with the shoulders. So take the shoulders back and then up and forward. Again, back, up and forward. And then one more back, up and forward. All right, so we'll do what's called breath of joy. So this is an energizing pranayama or breath practice. So as you breathe in, you'll breathe in 3 times and then out 1 time. So the inhale, you'll take arms forward as you breathe in, out as you breathe in again, and then up as you breathe in that 3rd time. And then as you exhale, you'll simply bend your knees and sweep your arms back, exhaling out your mouth. So one round of it looks like this. All right, so we'll do around 20 breaths, but honestly, I don't count, so it'll be somewhere around 20. So stand with your feet a little bit wider than your hips, have some bounce in your knees, and let's begin. Last one. And now pause, folded about halfway forward. Your forearms might be resting on your thighs. Taking a moment to let the energy settle. All right, and then gradually rise to stand. Now we'll step wide on the mat. And as you step wide, turn the right toes out towards the short edge of the mat. Turn your left toes slightly in. So this right leg is externally rotating and the left leg is internally rotating. So each leg has a different relationship to its hip. And then we'll take the arms out to the sides. Take a deep breath in and reach up. And then as you breathe out, bend your right knee, take the arms over the legs. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, reach up, straighten the right leg. Exhale and bend, reach out. All right, one more, breathing in. And breathing out. Now keep the right knee bent for the moment. Inhale, lean back toward your left leg. So left hand goes down, right arm goes up alongside the head, but that right knee is still bent. Then as you exhale, take your right forearm to your right thigh and your left arm toward your head. 2 more times. Inhale up and back. Right knee stays bent. Exhale, forearm to thigh, left arm to head. All right, one more, breathing in. And breathing out. All right, one more full breath in this position. Now inhale, lift up. Straighten that right leg. Exhale, release your arms. All right, switch sides. So turn the left toes out towards the short edge of the mat. Right toes turn slightly in. Arms out over the legs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend your left knee, arms over the legs. Twice more. Inhale, reach up, straighten the left leg. Exhale and bend your knee. All right, one more, breathing in. And breathing out. Now keep the left knee bent. Inhale and lean back toward your right leg. Left arm up. Exhale, take your left forearm to your thigh. Right arm up alongside the head. All right, two more like that. Inhale up and back. Keep the left knee bent. Exhale and shift forward. All right, then one more, breathing in. And breathing out. Now pause here, one more breath. All right, inhale, lift up, straighten your left leg. Exhale, release your arms. All right, now step near the top of the mat, feet about hip distance apart. As you inhale, press your hips back, float your arms up alongside the head, little bend in your knees as you find chair pose. Then as you exhale, press through your heels, rise back up to stand, and reach your arms back in space. All right, inhale again, find chair pose, hips back, arms up. Exhale to stand, reach the arms back. All right, one more inhale. This time as you exhale, fold over your legs, hands to the floor, walk back again to downward dog. The second time in downward facing dog, take your feet a little bit of a different distance between them. So you might have, if you practice often, a habitual way that you place your feet in this posture because it's a very well practiced pose for most of us. So take your feet a little bit of a different distance apart, so wider or closer together, and just notice the difference in sensation. All right, and then release down to your knees. Big toes together as you sit back towards your feet. Again, into child's pose, 3 breaths. All right, and then after your third breath, bring yourself back up onto hands and knees, and then all the way forward and down onto the front of your body. And so as you come onto the front of your body, walk your arms forward so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Gently pressing down into the forearms as you lift your heart and reach it forward. Engage with your feet as you reach back through the toes and see if you can get the pinky toes on each foot to touch the floor. So there's a little bit of a rotation that happens in your feet to try to press the pinkies toward the floor. All right, couple cycles of breath. All right, one more round of breath. All right, then lower the heart down to the floor. Slide your left arm out to the side so it's directly out from the shoulder. And then turn your head over to the right. Rest your head on the floor. Press down into your left hand as you turn your chest and maybe also your hips away from the floor as you start to create that stretch in the front of your left shoulder. Now, it might be comfortable to stack your legs as I have done. You might need to keep that right knee down for a little bit of extra support, or step the right foot back if you need less support. And so, as you're finding that stretch in the front of your left shoulder, see if you can sense into the front of the chest on the left, as well as anywhere else in the body that you notice sensation by taking this shape. Again, the inhalation is an experience of expansion in all directions. Where do you feel expansion here? On the exhale, you land into the space that you find yourself in. All right, take one more round of breath. And then roll back onto your front. Take that left arm down alongside the torso. Pause and rest for a full breath. All right, we'll do the same posture on the other side. So when you're ready, take your right arm directly out to the side, so straight out from the shoulder. And then turn your head over to the left, resting the head on the floor. Begin to press down into that left hand. As you turn your chest away from the floor, maybe the hips as well, use that left hand to support yourself in the position. And then, as with the first side, you might choose to stack your legs if that works for your body. You might keep your left knee down on the floor for a little extra support, or you might step that left foot back toward the space behind you if you need less support. But simply looking for a little bit of a stretch across the right shoulder, into the chest, down the arm. So allow your legs to support what you're feeling in your shoulder. All right, one more round of breath. And then rolling back onto the front of your body. Let that right arm come down alongside the torso to pause and rest. All right, take both arms alongside the torso. And now, the next time that you inhale, lift your head and chest, lift your arms, and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Rotate the arms so that your palms might face out, your thumbs point up. All right, and then lift the legs, feeling the back side of the body strongly engage as you start to open across the chest and down both arms. Take 3 breaths. All right, after your third breath, release the feet. Bring the arms forward, make a little pillow for your head, and again, rest the head on the hands. All right, let your knees bend. Gently sway the feet side to side. Releasing the feet, press back up onto hands and knees. And then come back into your comfortable seat. We'll conclude today with one more breathing practice called square breathing. You could also do this laying on your back if you prefer. So when you think of the shape of a square, it's got 4 equal sides. So think of the breath cycle in the same way. So think of the inhale and then holding the breath, and then the exhale, and then not breathing. So each side of the breath cycle, square, will be about 4 counts. Now, how fast you count to 4 is going to be a little bit up to you. I like to sense the beating of my heart and kind of go at that pace, but you can go slower or faster depending on how familiar you are with this breathing practice. And so when you're ready, breathe in to the count of 4. Now hold the breath in for 4 more counts. Exhale for 4. And then don't breathe for 4. Inhale to 4. Hold it in. Exhale. and then don't breathe. Inhale for 4. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Now take a few more rounds of breath in the same way. Now, after the next time that you exhale, release control of the breath. So release the pacing of it, release the volume of it, and just allow your breath or your body to breathe without restriction. Once again, connecting with that sense of expanding outwards in all directions as you breathe in, and then landing into your body as you breathe out. Noticing how you feel now after about a half an hour of practice. You can stay in the position that you're in, whether you're seated or laying down for a little bit longer, observing your breath if you'd like. But if you're ready to move on for whatever or to whatever your day next contains, we'll join our palms in front of the heart. As we bow to the light within ourselves, we also bow to the light within each other. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. May we know peace. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.